Oisín.
Right, you're recording, refrain yourself and speak.
I will, I won't mention names. I was just about to mention a name was outside when I was down there. You can cancel me at any stage now. Although I can guarantee I'll cancel myself before you do anything.
Oh man, you'd be good.
Right. So caution.
Now.
I think with the podcast is where do I look?
Why should I give you this job?
Oh fuck, long time since I did an interview. Last one was Supermax, so I don't know how well I'd get on.
You done with Supermax?
Yeah.
How did that go?
That was before college, just before it was a nightmare. Yeah, fuck. I remember he came in, because I thought he was messing. It was my first ever job, and he goes to me, he goes, what size shoe are you? And I thought he was taking the piss on me because he's one of those GA heads that was just like take the piss out of everything.
There's nothing wrong with GA heads.
Yeah, well, he was a proper GA head. Right. And he goes, what size shoe are you? And I was like, why do you need to know what shoe size I am? He goes, because you need shoes to work behind the counter. Stop asking stupid questions. And I was like, oh, fuck. And I actually talked back to him in the interview. I was like, fuck, I shouldn't have done that. But I thought he was taking the piss out of me. It was funny.
No, like, there you go.
Funny going back, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah. We're going back. That's where we're going to start.
We'll see.
First of all, thanks for coming on.
No problem at all.
Tap In, Speak Out podcast, powered by TAPiTAG. Thanks for coming on.
Perfect.
As an Athlone man.
Yes.
And we're based in Athlone here. Very important to support local. Yeah. And you're helping us here with this, so I really, really appreciate it.
You've helped me out many times in the past too.
Oisín, take us back.
Okay.
Take us way back.
Right.
I want to know how all this started, and I want to know the journey to how you got to here. So bring us back to, let's go back 10 years.
Crazy. Actually, fun, even to go back a little bit further, when I was in secondary school, right, was where this kind of all started. Because I remember I was 130 kilos at the time, so I was heavily overweight before I got into personal training.
Okay.
But I remember at 130 kilos, I really wanted to become an architect. And it was one thing, I was in DCG doing tech graphs and stuff in school. And I remember my guidance counsellor was like, oh, that's a great job to go and do. You'll get loads of money from that. And I was like, class. And I went home one day and I decided I was going to lose weight. I came in a week later to it and I was like, I'm going to do sports science in college. Bearing in mind, this is someone who's 130 kilos saying this to a guidance counsellor is like, not a chance is that going to happen to you. Like, you're going to have to start looking at something else. So she tried to guide me away from that. But something in my head, I just got stuck into trying to help myself and help others. And my brother was a massive proponent in me changing and getting a bit of self-belief in myself. But yeah, essentially went through a weight loss journey, lost like 60 kilos, got to the position where I was feeling more comfortable in my own skin and my body. I remember at one stage I felt afraid wearing a t-shirt on in the gym. Okay. So I wanted to wear a hoodie to cover myself up because I was afraid of the way that I looked. But from that point to kind of, I suppose, into the business side of things and how I ended up as a personal trainer online, which is everybody's like, where did he come from? Was during COVID. Crazy. During COVID, I just finished sports science in college. So yes, I didn't listen to the people who told me what to do. I completely ignored them and ignored the money signs where the architect was telling me to go. But I ended up coming out of college and straight into COVID. So it was kind of like, fuck, well, every gym's closed. There's nothing I can do. What can I do for myself? So I was like, I'm just going to help the younger version of me who might be sat at home by himself, struggling with his weight or whatever it might be. So I just started posting videos. And these videos, like, I was sitting in a chair absolutely shivering when I was posting. It was so funny, like, looking back at some of them. But yeah, that's kind of how it started. It started actually just from everyone. I think people start businesses sometimes from a position of like, oh, I want to make money or whatever. I never actually even ever saw money in what I wanted to start doing by posting videos online. You can't make money by posting videos online in Ireland anyways. No. But yeah, I posted videos and it just went kind of crazy. I remember one day I woke up, I had 10,000 followers. The next hour I had 100,000. Then the next day I had 500,000 and I was like, holy shit. And I remember my business was influxed with like 3,000 applications for coaching. Wow. And when I get an application, it's not like maybe another business where someone gets a product or whatever off you. It's like I have to personally deal with them because I was the only person. And bearing in mind, I'm like, I think I was like 23 at the time maybe. Yeah. So like, my first ever experience having so many. But all of these people were struggling with things that I struggled with in the past. So I sat here looking at application forms of over 3,000 people and I couldn't help all of them because it's only me. Yeah. And so imagine reading like 3,000 messages of people of like, I'm really struggling with this, I'm struggling to leave my house, my girlfriend or boyfriend or partner wants to leave me because of the way that I look and I'm really upset and XYZ. And I had to sit there and read that and not be able to do anything about it.
How did you manage that?
Sickening.
Was that pressure on you?
Yeah, a lot. I remember that was one of the biggest kind of painful moments. Everyone sees like this massive explosion on social media as something excellent and brilliant and that's what I want to happen in my life. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. When you're waking up in the morning time, your phone is going crazy, you can't sleep because everything that's going on. I remember being like, holy shit, what what can I do with all these people that are here to try and help me? What I essentially did is just, what can I do? I'm just going to have one person a day or one person. So I remember I used to, every single day, I'd be like, all right, I'm going to answer 100 messages in the morning, 100 messages before I go to bed, and I'm going to voice note every one of them so there's no it's me and not just a copy paste. But yeah, how did I handle it? Probably the worst way you possibly could. If you ask me how to handle it now, I'd have better options, but back then I fecked it up, and I think that's the way through business sometimes, or with changing your life, even going back to weight loss. First time going to the gym, did I know how to bench press? Not a chance. I remember one time I even got caught up here and I was nearly dying, and some fella had to pull the plates off one side, but it was kind of that thing of, like, I just winged the shit out of it at that moment. But as I said, I think people see that as something that's amazing, an account going from, I think I had 1,000 followers at the time, to 10,000 to 500,000 to now, what, close to 2 million we say. We haven't added it up just
3.5
yet. I'll multiply it by 10. That's what people do on podcasts nowadays. 400 million by the time it's released. But yeah, essentially it was just one of the craziest points in my life. Very anxiety driven, because people knew me now from around the town that I didn't know before. And like, bearing in mind, I came from a place where I was very self-conscious, like, I didn't really have a huge amount of friends in school because I was overweight, and I let that hold me back. So when it came to, like, a lot of people knowing me, it was really hard to deal with. But now I'm in a much better position, thank God.
So how has that changed then? So you're in a much better position now versus, let's say, 15, 20, whatever it might be, back then when you were heavier. How has that changed you? How has the social, or have you changed? Do you think you've changed yourself?
For sure, yeah. I feel like I'm still changing every nearly day now, or every week. I'm learning things all of the time. But I think the biggest thing that's changed me is just, like, every single day, like, new challenges, and like, let's go back. When I was really struggling with my weight, the biggest thing that I was afraid of is someone looking at me and telling me that, oh, you're fat or you're overweight. And I experienced all those things, but to overcome those, I had to experience them. I had to experience you calling me fat, or someone calling me, you didn't.
I didn't call you fat.
But if someone did, I had to experience that to be able to, okay, well, that person, that's someone's opinion of who I am, and that doesn't change me. I'm okay, and I'm going to move on. But that's through years of therapy. I go to therapy every single week, and I have for the last 5 years, and I'd put that down to pretty much all of my successes, being able to deal with that. But I think, like, looking at things a little bit differently and experiencing challenges, like, for example, the only way to get better at going to the gym is to go to the gym. It's not being good at the gym. You're not going to get better at going to the gym by being good at it. You have to be shit at it to start off with. I remember, I know I'm jumping all around the place.
That's
here,
okay, you jump.
But one thing that happened, it's funny, this is how pretty much I approach everything in life. When my Instagram account first blew up, I got approached by Penguin, the book company, to write a book about health, fitness, my journey, or whatever it might be. I remember I was so anxious, and I didn't know, I was like, oh, I don't deserve this, or I can't do it. So I emailed him back and like, I can't write. I nearly failed English when I was doing the bloody thing. My English teacher bloody hated me, and actually used to tell me that, I don't think you're going to go very far. If she watches this podcast now, she'll be laughing. But yeah, I remember emailing him back and saying, I don't think I'm going to be able to do that. Like, I can't, I'm not great. I'm good at speaking. I feel like I can speak and connect with people, but I can't put that into words. And he just literally one sentence back, write a shit book. And I was like, okay, kind of makes sense. Right. And then he goes, once you write a shit book, then we can go back and forth together and make it better. So I approach everything like that now. In anything that I do, even recently started jiu-jitsu maybe a year ago, I had to start. And how did I start? I started by being shit at and adding to it. It's the same with business, the same with weight loss. It's like, to lose weight, you're going to have to gain a lot of weight. Over time, you're going to struggle. You might go off track at the weekend and you might find things hard. And how you approach it is by looking at it, or what can I learn from that? How can I change one word of this book to make it a little bit more grammatically correct than the last page? Excellent. And that's literally how I approach every challenge that comes my way, and that's why I'm changing every single day, because I always try to take a little bit of a lesson from the day rather than a loss.
So you touched on 2 points, right? That I've just picked up on. So your guidance teacher, your English teacher. So 2 people kind of didn't back you, let's say, or kind of said, actually, you're not going to be able to do this. Have you built up a resilience to that, or have you built up a drive within you that if somebody says no, that you're going to say,
you have to. How many people have told you that this wouldn't succeed?
A lot.
Yeah, talk about anybody that ever got themselves anywhere has had that. Everybody in life has that about everything. Like, going back to my body, and I suppose the thing that I'm most, an expert in, and even saying that, I'm like a fucking expert. But yeah, the thing I'm most an expert in people's bodies, and people are always like, this person has a so-and-so to say about me, or I'm fat, or I'm overweight. Click on Dermot Kennedy's Instagram page, someone that you look at and is like an unbelievable figure for most people, and you're like, how could anyone hate him? Look in the comments. there's going to be someone calling them whatever it might be, or talking shit about them. It's like, if they can talk shit about Dermot Kennedy, who I know for a fact is the most glorious man on planet Earth, right?
Garen Noon
as well. Of course they're going to think I'm a piece of shit. And I'm like, okay. And with regards to doubts, it's just that people sometimes kind of push out their doubts onto you. It's not like the fact that that's actually necessarily true. And how can they predict? They probably know just as much as, it's like my English teacher, how was she to know anyway I was going to come? Or there's loads of people that would have commented on my first videos being like, oh, what a shit video, or what a shit thing. I'm like, I don't care. Like, I'm doing what I'm doing. And at the end of the day, there's only one person in that coffin. Not even my partner is going to be in the coffin with me. It's literally just going to be me. So do I want to be going to that point in my life to be like, oh, I didn't try and give it a go, or give it a whack? And I always think, my mom always says this to me whenever I got anxious or nervous about all of this collapsing, or not having a business, or having to go back at work in Supermax. What's the worst that happens? It's like, right, the worst thing that happens is I wake up tomorrow and I go and work in Supermax and make burgers again. I'll be fine.
It's absolutely, there's something that we've always said in this business. If somebody says no, what is the worst that can happen? Literally, what is the worst that can happen? The next phone call could be a yes. The next time you meet somebody could be a yes. So you always try and take, from what I can see with you, especially in your socials, you're always pushing positivity. You're always pushing that mindset of being better. How do you bring that into your business? How do you bring that into your everyday life, that positive mindset, when there is so much negativity, as you mentioned online? So the way I kind of change my mind on things, one, therapy massively helps me. And it's funny that people will be like, oh, well, business gurus and whatever it might be. The best business guru I've ever had is a fella who's never even set up his whole business and just does therapy literally in his side room in his house. And I just talk to him. That's literally it. Because the best ideas I'm ever going to have are probably going to come from myself anyways. And it's the same for anybody that's ever done anything amazing. They just have the best ideas, but for some reason we always look for other people to validate them before we go and take action on any of them. So actually, therapy is one thing that I'm a massive proponent figure of, and I know a lot of lads are afraid to talk about mental health and stuff like that. It's definitely improved in the last number of years, but I think it can change people's lives. And another thing that I do is I often sit down with like a notebook and I do a little bit of a mind map. So for me, my biggest fear is, well, my social media is going to crash and burn and I'll have nothing. And then I'll draw a little bit of a line out, and the lines out from it are questioning why this is going to happen. So what are the chances that's going to happen? Well, it might be 1 out of 10, or it might be 50 out of 10. Okay, what's the other things that could possibly happen? My social media could explode tomorrow, and that might be 50 out of 10 or 40 out or 100 or whatever it might be. But mind mapping it out that way helps, and asking yourself questions about it. So for example, you talked about there picking up the phone to someone and they say no. The only reason you're upset about a no is because you're attaching feelings to the no that someone said. Right. Someone probably just said no because you don't need TAPiTAG right now. And does that mean that your business is shit? But yet when you pick up the phone and someone says no, you might be like, oh, but that means my business is shit or is not good enough. It's like, no, maybe that person just needs, even in my case, a different coach. Someone who talks to them a little bit differently. And that's fine. Doesn't mean I'm a bad coach. Doesn't mean I'm not good enough. It means that perhaps that person just needs someone to speak and shout at them and scream at them in a different way. And that's fine. And there's going to be people that listen to this podcast that think I'm talking shit. And I'm okay with that too, because to some people I'm going to be talking shit, and there's going to be someone sat there at home being like, actually, now I need to mind map about what I'm thinking about and actually write out other thoughts and feelings about it. And that really helps. Another thing that massively helps my mindset when it comes to business, because it's ups and downs all the time for everybody. Social media, it's ups and downs. I've gone through months where I've lost 5,000 followers and I've gained 5,000, then the next month it's crazy. And with business, you have an income, a record month, and then the next month is the lowest it's ever been. You're kind of like, what the fuck is going on? But two things. How can this be worse? When I sit down, I'm like, how can this be worse? I have the most stressful day ever, everything's going to shit, 1,000,001 complaints, and I can't keep on top of it. How can this be worse? Well, Jesus, my house could be on fire or whatever. And then I'm like, actually, yeah, it's not too bad. I still have my mum to have dinner with later on the evening time, or I still get to come in here and sit down and have a podcast. And then it's like, right, well, what way can I make this a little bit better tomorrow? And it's like, well, okay. Little wins.
Yeah, exactly. And if you start looking at the little things as the big things, then that's where things start to change. Because most people get caught up in the big massive factors. How can I hire 7 different people? How can I do this? It's like, let's park that. Let's start with the first thing. Can you send a message to somebody to see if they'd be interested? Or can you send an email? Or can you just ask? It's another massive thing for me. I know I'm going 1,000,000 miles an hour, but there's so many different lessons in it. But if you just take the small little wins day to day, you'll keep on going.
Well, that's a great lead into my next question there, actually.
Okay.
The biggest lesson that you've learned in your journey so far. So the biggest lesson that you've learned about yourself, about people, whether it's losing weight, whether it's just changing our mindset. What's the kind of... what's the thing that kind of resonates with people that you push or you help them with that they can kind of connect with you on?
Yeah, there's probably something a little bit rude I could say, but I don't know if it'll be bleeped off.
I can bleep it. You can go and say it.
Can't are for cunts is what I would say, right? So can'ts are for people that, like I always say, people who say that they can't do something are just wrong. Like everybody has the ability to be able to get up and go for a walk or go to the gym or change their life or lose weight or set up a business. Yep. And as you said, I think they just need, you need, and everybody needs to just believe in themselves a little bit more. And it's easy for me to sit here and believe in yourself, right? That's not going to work. So how do we build up that belief in yourself? And that's what I think people need to realize is you build up that belief over time. So if you're anxious about doing something you don't feel good, those feelings aren't going to sit and disappear by looking at them. Yep. You're not going to get less anxious by going to the gym, by sitting and looking at people going to the gym and being like, I'm going to go there someday. I need to wait till I'm less anxious or to the perfect time, right? Loads of people do that. The actual key is building the evidence that you're able. So what's the evidence that you're able to go to the gym? Okay, I'm going to go and ask the receptionist, can you show me around? Oh, I built evidence that I can walk in the door. Okay, now when I ask the receptionist, can you walk around? Can you show me how to use that machine? Now I know how to use one machine in the gym. And I'm slowly building that evidence that I can do this thing. With business, it's as simple as social media. The biggest thing that holds people back is, oh, someone's going to think I'm an idiot or an idiot or I can't talk on camera. Well, okay, let's take out your phone, put your phone on black on the table or on something black where you can't see anything and just speak. Right, that's the first step. Now you've shown that you can record your voice. Okay, and it might sound stupid. Next, just pick up the phone off the table and you might have your phone pointing the opposite direction, then speak. Another analogy that I've actually heard someone use before, which for business and loads of different things, and that building belief is amazing. If you were afraid of spiders, you wouldn't get a spider first thing and put it in your hand, right? You wouldn't do that because you'd be like, oh shit, get it away from me, run away. What you'd actually probably do is get a spider, put them in a box and put them at the end of the table. And then you'd look at them and be like, okay. And then you'd move it a little bit closer. And then you move it a little bit closer. And it's the same with everything. If you see everything as that spider and slowly making the jumps, but you're never going to be less afraid of a spider until it's eventually in your hand and here, right? That fear is still going to be there, but you build that up over time by slowly moving closer towards your goals and taking a small step. A staircase has 5, 6, 7 steps. You never walk into someone's house and the staircase has 1.
No.
Why? Because it'd be a fucking stupid staircase. You couldn't climb it. Most people would stay downstairs then. So when you're thinking about things, think of a staircase, split it into 5. Now what are the 5 steps to doing this? Drinking a glass of water, getting in my car, packing my gear bag, getting to the gym and walking to the door. And it's easy.
And again, it comes back to little wins.
Exactly.
Your little wins.
It's so easy. It's someone here on the podcast listening. Tell me, right? These people, tell me there's one person here that can't drink a glass of water. Right? And that's the first step to getting to the gym. What's the second step? Putting your clothes in a bag. Yep. Tell me, but yet you'll tell me, oh, I can't go to the gym. I'm not able. But you're able to do all the steps.
Have you noticed, especially with, let's say some of your followers or maybe some of your clients initially when they start, that there is that I can't. Yeah. And it comes down to, let's say, that mental health piece where they've probably been struggling for so long.
Yeah.
They've seen you, they've related to you, and they've said, I'm going all in on this guy. Like what's different from your methods to, let's say, what every other coach is doing out there? Because there's a lot of coaches.
Yeah.
And from what I can see, and from people that I speak to, you're a really relatable guy that a lot of people have put a lot of trust into, and you're providing a lot of results, which is great.
Yeah, I've been there. It's as simple as that. 130 kilos, I know exactly what it's like to walk into school and school is the worst place you can be overweight, right? In your adult life, yeah, it's bad. So yes, it's harsh, we can be harsh on ourselves, but school is the worst place because every fecker in there is going to tell you that you're fat. And anytime that you have an argument, and that often happens in the school place, everyone's going to resort to losing or calling you fat. So you lose every single argument in there as well because you can't come back. That's literally what's said to you. Yeah. So I've experienced the worst of the worst with being overweight. So when it comes to someone really, really struggling with the weight, I understand exactly what that's like. And I think that really helps. And I think the aspect of when I talk about something, I talking about something that I've done before. I'm not talking about something that I think you should do or that I haven't done. I'll never ask someone to do something that I haven't done myself. I'll never ask someone to post on social media when I haven't done it. I have. Yeah. I'll never ask someone or tell someone to do something that doesn't work either. And I think that comes from the massive amount of evidence that I built up. The first time I coached somebody, the first time doing my business, did I feel like I was going to be a success or did I feel like I was a good coach? Absolutely not. But after coaching 1,000 people over the last 2 years, I guarantee you, I can see I'm probably one of the best coaches in the world, if not in Ireland overall. So when it comes to the coaching or business and having that confidence in your business, it doesn't come initially, right? With TAPiTAG, maybe after the first no, you're probably like, actually, will this work? Or is this something that's going to benefit everybody? And then after a couple of years, you're like, yeah, I'm actually seeing an increase in businesses all around the place and the amount of leads that they're getting from using the card. And it's like, all right, now I know this business works. So you need to build that evidence with it, but also being in a position where you've struggled with similar struggles to my clients, that's why I have such a way about where I speak in definites almost. Of being like, I know for a fact I can help.
Motivation versus discipline.
Okay, good one.
Speak to me.
Yeah, I hate people that say discipline. When I see people talk about discipline online, it makes me want to slap them around the place, can't lie. Main reason being is because I think it is stupid. I think as human beings, we're different every single day. Some days we're not going to do the things that we've said we're going to do. I think it's important to, but I just think some days we wake up with less energy and more energy. So I think about my life like a battery. My battery has 60% some days. If I give 60%, that's 100% of the battery used, right? And that's the way I often think about it. So discipline can be someone who is extremely struggling with their mental health and finding things hard, just getting up and having a shower that day.
Yep.
And it's like, if you look online and look at social media, what is discipline labelled as? Getting up at 5 a.m, going to the ice bath, doing all this. That's not discipline. That's overdoing it most of the time. And motivation, I know they're kind of are intertwined. I hate motivation as well because it's an excuse. I'm just not motivated. If your kid said, I'm not motivated to brush my teeth, I guarantee you'd be like, get up that stairs and go and brush your teeth. Motivation is the biggest myth around. It's momentum. Momentum is created. Think about if you take the handbrake off your car is stagnant. Your car is not going to move. When you first start pushing it, it's hard. It might even roll backwards. But if you get a couple of people to push it, a community of people around you who have the same vision, or even if not, you just put in a little bit more effort and start pushing it, eventually the car starts to roll and then everybody gets behind it. That's what motivation is.
Yep.
Or even think about a snowball. If you start rolling a snowball, initially it's small and then you roll it and then it's really easy to get a lot of snow on it as you push it. And that's what I see motivation as. But motivation doesn't come and hit you in the face. And if you're waiting for motivation, it's going to come when you feel worse than where you currently are.
Yep.
So if you're thinking about, I'll wait until I'm motivated to start a business, well then wait until you're really financially struggling, then you might be motivated to start a business. If you're thinking about motivation to start social media, or I should start posting on social media, right, when you run out of leads for your new business, then you're going to be motivated to post on social media. So do you want to wait for that to happen, or do you want to take action now so that doesn't happen? With weight loss, I'm going to sit on my arse and wait until I gain 50 more pounds to lose weight then. It doesn't make sense. So motivation doesn't make sense. What makes sense is starting something, taking action on it, being proud of yourself for doing it so that the motivation comes. Because if you can sit and see, I pushed the car from this distance to this distance, it's like, well, I'm not going to push it back into the car park. Yep. I'm going to try and push it out onto the road, and then you're more likely to keep on going with it. So yeah, with motivation and discipline, it's kind of a mixture of taking action when you're feeling like shit, and you're taking the action because you feel like shit. You're not taking it because you feel like shit. And then with discipline, it's like, it depends on how much effort you can put in. Yep. Sometimes it'll be pushing with one hand, sometimes it'll be pushing with two, and sometimes it's maybe even just getting out of bed and going and having a shower. And I think that if we promoted or seen more of that on social media, more people would believe in themselves and take more action.
Absolutely.
on things.
Well, I think social media obviously gives an unrealistic overview.
Sure,
it's, I think what did they say? It's what you see on social media is people's highlight reel.
Yeah.
That's what it is. We see it. Everybody sees it. And everybody's guilty of it too. You always put up your best bits. You, on the other hand,
a little controversial sometimes.
And I love it. Never change. And look, on social media, you always see different things that go on and go up there. So, and I know from my friends group, I know from groups of people that I know, whether it's to do with football, whether it's to do with business, whatever it might be, anxiety is a massive thing. Depression is a massive thing. And I wonder what you've seen with, let's say, depression, anxiety, and how exercise and nutrition helps that. Yeah. Is it something that doctors should be pushing more, less tablets as an example, more exercise? Should it be, this is a fix, rather than actually you don't need to do that?
Yeah, I think if more people focused on exercise and movement for the sake of how they feel rather than how they look, the world would be a better place, and also people would have better health outcomes. The biggest issue with social media, and we look at exercise, and actually as a whole, there's a couple of things with exercise. Think about your first experience with exercise. For most people who are struggling with their weight and unhealthy, it would be in a position of PE in school, and oftentimes it's doing shit sports that they don't like, yep. And so they're forced into doing exercises that they don't like and think that that's exercise, so they already hate exercise coming out of school or coming out of wherever. So actually involving people in movement and not calling it exercise, so movement is just moving our body in ways that we enjoy. That's the first thing. If we enjoy it, we change how we feel from worse to better. And with that, then that's going to improve people's anxiety, people's feelings. And if we improve how we feel, we improve how we eat. Think about if you went home really stressed here after a day's work, are you likely to cook?
No.
Probably not. More likely to order a takeaway and have less energy. If you're feeling better after a day's work and feeling better overall in yourself, you're more likely to sit down and cook a meal and spend time with your family and not kind of be more recluse with everything, let's say. So when it comes to that, there's so many different areas in which working out to feel better improves life. Now, do I think it's a complete solution for mental health issues or for weight loss? Absolutely not. I think there's like mental health and weight loss are 100% connected, but I do think that people struggle outside that. So tablets can be beneficial, but regards to overall health outcomes, I think exercise should be pushed more. I think movement should be pushed more, and I think overall looking after your nutrition and why that's important should be pushed more as well. And I think the only reason it's pushed and on social media is weight loss. And it's like, if we're pushing people into losing weight by doing all these things, yes, it sounds brilliant. But if you're sat on the couch and I tell you have to go for a run because you're fat, does that make you want to get up off the couch?
Absolutely
Probably not.
No.
But if I sit down and say, actually, you're feeling shit today, if we get up and go for a walk and you really enjoy walking, you're going to feel better. Do you want to feel better? Everybody wants to feel better.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so when it comes to changing the way we look at exercise and changing the way we look at nutrition, everything else becomes easier from literally just doing that one thing of changing exercise from being a punishment to being exercise something that I get to do and something that's going to change me, not only physically, but psychologically is the thing that's not pushed. And comparison plays massively into this, because most people who are struggling are finding things hard, and it's the same in the business space as well. You compare it to what everybody else is doing online. Does that make you want to do more? For most people it doesn't. Right? It makes people want to do less. And that comparison, I heard the quote, comparison is the thief of joy. I actually don't I hate that quote, to be honest. I think comparison is a tool for you to use to point out the insecurities within yourself. So you compare it to others to beat yourself up. So it's a reason to beat yourself up. And social media is an easy way to access that. And that's why a lot of people are struggling with anxiety right now, because they have a tool in front of them that they can beat themselves up with as much as possible. First thing in the morning time, oftentimes scrolling on social media, beating yourself up over it. So you're comparing to beat yourself up over things, because other people will look at maybe people's social media posts and be inspired by it or whatever, but it depends on their level and the person. So I think if you're someone who's struggling with social media and maybe anxious and finding it hard with the comparison side of things, try to remove it for a little while, because you don't have social media. Who are you going to compare yourself to? You're going to walk into a coffee shop and be like, barista, take off your t-shirt so I can see what your abs look like and compare to me. No, it doesn't happen. You can if you want. I won't do it on the podcast. But I think most people would actually then be like, actually, I've stopped comparing myself, because who do you compare yourself to then? And you often don't compare yourself to the people in your close circle. And I say as well, another thing, I know it's kind of leading off the fact of what I promote exercise and nutrition for the mental health aspect, but I think social media is a huge part of what I do as well. And it does negatively impact people. But I think in regards to social media and it being such an impact on anxiety levels and not feeling great, if we can reduce the amount of it that we consume. The better that we're going to feel overall, because we don't have people to compare ourselves to, we don't have people to make us feel worse. And if you're comparing upwards, which a lot of people do, look at, oh, look at this person is making millions. I'm going to ask you to be an arsehole to yourself and everybody else, compare downwards. So imagine you're an elite runner and you're comparing yourself to a max runner. Right now I want you to compare yourself to someone who's in a wheelchair. And if you're going to, you might be like, oh, that's an arsehole thing to do. But you know what else is an arsehole thing to do? For you to compare yourself to the people above you and beat yourself up over it too. So you're beating them up the same way you're beating yourself up. So if you want to be an arsehole to everybody else, be an arsehole, you're being an arsehole to yourself, be an arsehole to everybody else. And that's the way I start to configure comparison in my head. Is like, right, well, if I'm going to beat myself up over this, I'm going to force myself to change that aspect in other areas too.
Amazing. So what I want to get out of this podcast and this series is high points, low points. And like the real authentic side of you. People see it, they see it on socials, they see you, might be in the street, you've told your story about being this heavy person who's changed their life. You've made a business, you've made yourself from this. And from speaking to you, I'm taking a lot from it, which is fantastic. I was the heavy kid as well. So I was the heavy kid as well. So I know. Like,
we know a good ice cream taste.
I love a good fudge cake. But it's amazing to hear. It's amazing to hear the story that you've just told, and the amount of bits that I've took from it going, exactly the same thing happened to me. And then there's always the people growing up that you take some information from and you run with it. You always run with it. I've had football coaches.
Yeah.
At my heaviest, when I was 12, they said, oh, you can go in goal. You can go and play in goal. You're standing there. And one coach in particular says, well, you're going to be the best goalkeeper that we're going to have in this club. And that stuck with me. Absolutely stuck with me. And I was kind of, okay. Now, was I the best goalkeeper in the world? No. I'm still playing in goal.
Yeah.
But that bit of advice drove me on to be let's say, the goalkeeper I am, or what I've achieved in my football career.
And probably drove you on in every area of your life too.
Every area. And when I was, and I hope he listens to it, there was a football coach that I went from playing Division 7 football in Dublin to Division 1, because in my head I was kind of going, hang on a second. If these guys are telling me that I'm as good as I am, I should be playing the top league. I should be at the top league in Dublin. So got a transfer up to a club called Lucan Sarsfield, and there was a guy up there, Barry Whelan, and Barry was the toughest coach I've ever met in my life. My first phone call with him, he was like, are you even good enough to come up to us? And in my head I was like, more than good enough. There was 46 training sessions before he played me.
Dodging every one of them.
Literally in the gym, he owned his own gym, absolutely killed us and killed me in particular. I'm standing in goal and going, why am I doing a 10K? What am I doing this for? But built up such a resilience in me at 26, 27 that I didn't think I needed. I thought, sure, I'm grand, I'm kind of developed as a person here. It really drives you on, and it inspired me. It's kind of brought some aspects of him being a hard ass for me has drove it into my life. So I'm kind of going, I'm taking this into other areas, whether it's business, whether it's my personal life, whatever it might be. Who's that person for you? Who's that person who has inspired you to drive yourself on over the last few years?
Oh, there's loads. Well, from a weight loss journey, my brother, for sure. Because when you're younger, if anybody that's listening that has an older brother, you kind of just look up there and copy them with everything. So like he's seen whatever he was doing, whenever I seen him do things, I was like, that's the coolest thing ever. So him going to the gym, I was like, that's so cool. So he inspired me to go, but in the same way of like true support. So your first change in your journey was someone saying that you're the best goalkeeper in this club. And that allowed you to be able to go through the resilient points in the future, because without that, you wouldn't have been able to experience your man going crazy with his training session. Because imagine you were thrown into the deep end with that, you'd probably be like, oh, I'm so bad, I'm not able for that. So I think my brother guided me along that first part of my journey. And then I suppose lots of people name out like loads of people outside of their circle, whatever, with my mum. And the reason I say that is my mum has been in college first of all, as long as I was in school. So I was in school, primary, secondary school, and then college. She was in college the whole entire time, studying to be a psychotherapist. And she actually runs a business here in Athlone as well. She's been running that business by herself for the last 7-8 years, through absolute low points, high points. Was raised a family pretty much by herself as well at the same time. And seeing that, I'm like, if she can go out and work her ass off back-to-back days like that, where she's upset and going through lots of things, and then work in her business, which is psychotherapy, working with people who are struggling, I'm like, I can do this for sure. And whenever I'm struggling with things, I think having really close people in your circle, it's not so much about inspiring you, but almost about just being like, oh, just see what tomorrow's like. And I'm like, okay. And she's like, oh, well, how could it be worse? I'm like, yeah, you're right. And it's just the small little things. I often, like a lot of the things my mom would talk to me about, I carry on with me. And I always know that if someone doesn't like me, someone doesn't like what I'm doing on social media, or someone has something to say about my business or who I am as a person, I don't really care, because I go home and mom's there and mom's like, you're the best person ever. I'm like, well, so it's the same as you. If you ended up going to that club and we're absolutely shit, just go back to your man who said you're the best goalkeeper and live your best life.
I can't play under 14s again though.
It'd be a bit strange.
I'll be unreal though.
Sponsor the team. That's the best we can do. But yeah, I would say, as cringy as that sounds for a lot of people, my mum, but it's just because I've seen her and her journey through business, and seen her resilience pushing through things as well, as inspiring for me.
Okay. I suppose coming to the end of this, a couple of questions that I want to ask you. So the journey has brought you to here. It's brought you to this chair. I know this is the pinnacle. I know this is, it probably can't get any better. Can't get any better than this. But you're 85. In your mind right now, you're 85. What's the legacy you've left
hard
behind?
Question. That's the moment I'm going through now at the moment, you know that? Because through business, I think it's okay to have change. And so for a long part of my journey through business so far, and it's something that I have to be more okay with, is just weight loss. I'm like, I want to help people on a deeper level through even more. So I'm kind of in a moment of change now. So when you ask me like, what do I want my legacy to be? It's always been since the very beginning, help people. So no matter what, I want people to be able to look at my grave, somebody, he helped me out. If that ever happened, I'll be like, that's sick. Like, that's exactly what I remember that time he helped me out. Because actually, a fun story, I was looking around for an office to base myself out of in a studio. I was talking to you about it. Yeah. And I rang up one guy going to his, to see his space. Now, it was I won't say it's the shittest office I've ever seen in my whole entire life, but it's pretty goddamn bad. Yeah. I wouldn't expect to see a TAPiTAG in there anyway. But when I walked in the door, he goes, Mulligan, and I was like, yeah, and he goes, oh, I know your granddad, and I was like, oh, do you? And so my granddad, Sean Mulligan, used to run Farmers Journal around the area, and kind of, I think he was in the government in some manner, telling all the farmers around Roscommon and Westmeath about grants that were coming in. Yep. And I remember just the one sentence your man goes, he goes, Sean Mulligan really helped me out when I was in a really bad position and really suck, and I just thought, that's the best legacy that anybody could ever possibly have, because that's a story that I live on. People will forget what weight you were, how much weight you helped them lose, do whatever. But if someone could turn around and say, Oisín helped me through a hard time, what else are we here for? To help others, to be a community with other people. It's been since the start of time we're all in a community together. So if I could look back and see exactly what my granddad did for other people, I suppose, would be he helped me. That's it. If I could do that, yeah. And I don't know in what way. Again, that'll change throughout my life. There's been periods of time where I'm like, I want to help people with their businesses or whatever, and I'm like, oh, I'm not into all that shit. I'd rather help them on a higher level. So for me now, I'm in a moment to change, and I think right now my main focus is I just want to help people.
Well, you just keep doing what you're doing. That's all I'll say to you. No, seriously, I'm a big supporter. I love to see what you're doing. I love to see how many people you're helping. It's absolutely fantastic. And you've mentioned your mum there, but you're a credit to your mum. That's the other key piece, and I really mean that. Where can people find you?
Yes, Instagram or Facebook or TikTok, any social media channel, just Mulligainz Fitness is where you'll find me. Now, the only thing I'm raging about is there's a pain in the hole to spell that. But the Mulligainz was actually a play. The lads used to call me when I first started gym when I was overweight. He used to be like, Mulligainz. And at that time it was taking a piss out of me because I was overweight and be like, oh, the gains. Now I use the thing of, my goal is to help you gain more than you lose. So everyone comes into weight loss being like, I want to lose weight. And I'm like, right, we'll help you lose weight, but I want you to help you gain your self-confidence, your ability to be nice to yourself and talk kindly. So yeah.
Well, we'll tag you and everything in the comments below, in the comment section, or caption section below. Oisín,
thank you very much.
You have tapped in, you've spoke out, and we really appreciate having you on the pod.
Thank you very much.
Thanks so much.
You're a legend.
Lovely stuff.
Sound. Hopefully it didn't go off.
No, we're good.
How did you